Rest is pretty easy. Just keep your eyes on the monitors and keep people out. Piece of cake.
This is Scotty and Andrew, and you're listening to Fun with Horror.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Scotty.
And I'm Andrew.
And welcome to episode number 106 of Fun with Horror, the movie review podcast in which two long-distance best friends take turns giving each other horror movies to watch and discuss.
This week is my movie, and I chose the brand spanking new Five Nights at Freddy's, which is directed by Tammi and starring Josh Hutcherson, Piper Rubio, Elizabeth Lail, and the one and only Matthew Lillard. And of course, remember to stay tuned until the end of this episode where we get to hear what Scotty picks for our next movie. But without further ado, hi, buddy.
I love you, buddy.
I love you, buddy. Hi.
Yeah, look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us doing a podcast.
Man. Look at our podcast. We're in the hundreds. That's wild.
You can't look at our podcast because it's a podcast. You
That's
can only
true.
listen to it.
Dang, you're right.
Silly me. Unless you go on YouTube and look at the logo for an hour. But hallelujah, the strike is kind of over.
Woohoo!
We're recording this on Thursday, November 9th.
Yes.
And yesterday, last night, the studios and the actors came to an agreement. So it's tentative, and hopefully by the time this episode is released, it will be more of a confirmed thing.
For sure. It's crazy how long this has lasted. I mean, it's crazy. So I'm so happy, man. I'm so glad this is hopefully done and we can move on and people can get what they deserve, which is nice. And yeah, I'm just happy that it's done.
And I can get back to work.
That's right.
Which will be nice.
Yeah, man.
But in other news, my friend, this was exciting. And I know that even though you don't play the game, it was exciting for you to see. But I've been waiting eons for Dead by Daylight to add Chucky to the game.
Yeah.
And some people thought it would never happen because Chucky is small.
Yes.
But they are adding Chucky to Dead by Daylight.
It's awesome. And that image they showed was perfect. I was like, he looks great. He looks stunning. It's exactly what I want to see.
There's a little trailer and I have to show it to you.
Yes.
So I'll show it to you sometime.
Okay.
Now, if they add the new Pennywise, the more recent Pennywise.
Oh, yeah.
That would be fantastic.
Here's hoping.
But, again, people don't think they'll ever do it because they've already got a clown character. So,
I mean, you can have more than one clown. In fact, that's my idea of a party, friends.
That's right. That is your idea of a party.
I do love clowns. I have an unhealthy obsession.
So we recorded before Halloween, and our last episode was released on Halloween.
Yes.
Did you watch any movies on Halloween or anything, buddy?
So, you know what we actually started and are caught up on, at least all the episodes so far, is, speaking of, Chucky.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we started what's that? Yep. Season 3. Yep.
Okay.
And I'm not going to say much, obviously, but season 1 I had a blast with. Season 2 was fun. It was fun. This season is maybe my favorite so far. I'm having a really good time with this season.
So I'll probably hate it.
Probably, yeah. But
no, I haven't watched it yet. Season 2 I liked better than season 1, though.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to watching season 3.
Nice. But yeah, so I've watched that, and then I started. Man, I'm kind of struggling through it, buddy. But Hell House LLC 2. I really want to get to 3 and 4, but 2 is just it's been a little hard for me to get through. So I'm about halfway.
Do it.
I know, but man, it's just tough.
It's like pulling a tooth, right?
Yeah, kind of. Not to sound negative or mean, but it's just been a little rough to get through.
Yeah, just do it. Because I've heard from many people that the newest fourth movie is maybe the best.
That's
So-
why I've been really trying to get through this, because I want to get there. I'm really anxious for 3, because I've heard 3 is great too, 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get there.
Two movies I want to mention.
Yeah.
JD, our friend JD, came over
Aw.
right before Halloween, and we did a double feature. It was beautiful because it's 2 movies that you and I have covered and discussed on this show.
Yay.
It was Pearl and
Oh.
X.
Oh, wow. Oh, what a double feature.
JD had never seen either of them.
Oh.
So that was fun. But on my side, it was my first time watching X since I had seen Pearl.
Oh,
And
interesting.
also, we watched them in chronological order. We watched Pearl first and then X,
Interesting.
which to me is the definitive way to watch those 2 movies now.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Huh. Okay. I do want to rewatch both of them.
And that
'Cause
is how
they-
you should watch them.
Okay. Pearl first, then X. Huh. Okay. I will rewatch those in that order because they're fun movies.
Yeah, and I think even JD said he liked both of them a lot.
Yes. Good.
And even he said that he was glad that we watched Pearl and then X.
Nice.
So,
Huh.
yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
There you have it.
I love it. I love it. I'm so glad he watched those. That's amazing. What did you watch that on Halloween?
No, a few days before Halloween.
Okay. Did you watch anything on Halloween?
I did not. I actually, it turns out that I ended up watching 31 movies in October.
No, I saw. That's awesome. That's so perfect.
So I basically watched a movie a day, but basically the Friday before Halloween,
Mhm.
I was looking at all the movies I watched and I counted them and I said, holy crap, I've almost watched 31 movies.
Nice.
And when I got to movie number 31, the day before Halloween, which was Nightbreed,
Oh yeah, dude.
and that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
But when I got to that movie, I don't know, like Halloween came along and I went and hung out with a friend and I was thinking maybe I would watch Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. And then
Yeah,
I
dude.
just didn't watch any movies that day. I felt that I was fulfilled in my movie watching October experience.
Well, I would say since you hit 31, it would almost feel. Yeah, I get that. It would feel weird. 32. I mean, it makes sense to do the 31. So I like that you didn't. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't on purpose. I definitely went into Halloween Day thinking that I was going to watch one of the Halloween movies at least.
Right.
And I just never got to it. And now in November, I've watched nothing but Marvel movies. So there you have it.
There you go.
Except for today's movie.
This place, it gets to people. It's one of the reasons why you're gonna quit.
I'm sorry?
Oh, yeah, you security hires? You never last. Have you met them yet?
Met who?
Everybody out there listening, this is your warning. Andrew and I are about to talk about the brand new movie, Five Nights at Freddy's, and we're going to spoil that movie and probably some of the video games as well. So if you haven't seen the movie, especially, this is your warning. You can stop listening right now. Go watch it on Peacock or wherever it's playing. And if you haven't played the first game and you don't want that spoiled or some of the lore of the game spoiled, there you go. This is your warning. Andrew.
Yeah.
I tried to get Freddy Fazbear.
Yeah.
He was unavailable.
Dang it.
I tried to get Foxy because I wanted him to go the ba-doom, doom, doom, but also unavailable. Then I tried to get Bonnie.
Yeah.
Also unavailable.
What the heck?
So I got in touch with Chica Also unavailable, but Chica sent me Mr. Cupcake. So Mr. Cupcake is outside your door. And if you go over 3 minutes with this recap, Mr. Cupcake is going to eat your face off.
Oh, good. Okay. Wow. Boy, good job on all the names, my friend. That was really good.
Oh, I'm a big fan now.
Oh, yay.
All right, whenever you're ready, buddy.
Dude, I have to tell you, though, when I was thinking of the 3-minute recap before doing this, like I woke up thinking about it this morning. And in my mind, it played like a trailer, like where it was like, Mike is a down on his luck security guard until one day he goes and his life has changed forever. Like that was I woke up thinking in my mind like that. And I was like, I should do it like that, but I can't do the whole thing like that.
Oh man.
But
you could have at least done the beginning of it and surprised everybody. But now it's not a surprise.
It's not a surprise. And it's too much pressure. I'd pee. So
a little pee would come out.
Just a little, just enough to cause a disturbance.
Well, then go ahead, buddy. Whenever you're ready.
Thanks, man.
I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of play time.
All right. So the movie, Mike is a security guard at a mall. He has a little sister, Abby. He also has some PTSD from some trauma that's happened in his past, which we'll talk about soon. During his time at the mall, though, he sees a young kid being taken by an adult male. He doesn't think that that's the parent or the father of the kid, so he runs and chases the guy down and beats the living hell out of him. It turns out that was the kid's father. So he's out of work. Again, he's struggling. He's taking care of this little sister that he has. There's also an aunt in the picture that also wants the little sister to take care of her, basically for money, though, for state government funds. Throughout, though, so he needs to find a new job. He goes to someone that can help him find the jobs. I'm totally drawing a blank on what that's called. But someone that can help find jobs, played by the one and only Matthew Lillard, who I love dearly. He says, hey, I got a job for you. It's going to be a night shift, though, if you want it. He says, I can't do that. I got my little sister. But eventually he finds a babysitter that can watch her and takes the job. So he goes to this job at Five Nights at Freddy's, this abandoned, essentially Chuck E. Cheese type place with all these animatronics, and falls asleep, though, because it's night shift. But during his sleep, he has some very interesting dreams where we see what happened in his past, his PTSD, where he and his family were camping and his little brother was taken by someone, a kidnapper, and driven away, and no one found the kidnapper. So clearly that's something that he's dealing with. During these dreams, though, he also sees these 5 children walking around and then wakes up. And then night 2 happens, same thing. He has another dream, but he talks to these children this time, asking if they can help him find who took his brother. Kind of wakes up. During this time, though, the aunt who wants the sister, decides to hire the babysitter of the sister as well as some other kids to go and destroy Five Nights at Freddy's so that Mike can get fired and she can essentially claim custody of Abby. So they go and do this, except the animatronics come to life and they kill all of the people. Mike now doesn't have a babysitter, so decides to bring Abby with him to go to Five Nights at Freddy's. During this time, though, or possibly before this, a police officer shows up talking about the place and what has happened there. We find out that some children were taken by a man in a bunny suit that used to work there and killed them. And lo and behold, we find out that the 5 children in his dreams are ghosts of the kids that were killed and are actually possessing these animatronic dolls, beings, whatever you want to call it. Abby's really taken to them. They've taken to Abby. They love her. Eventually, Mike falls asleep again, asking for help from these ghost children, saying, can you help me? And they say, yes, we can, but we want to take your sister and make her one of our, dolls, whatever you want to call it. He says, okay, but then realizes, no, that's not right, and says no, and they attack him and knock him out. The police officer comes and saves him, though, and starts healing him. At this time, Abby's actually at home with the aunt, who, while they're there, one of the animatronics decides to go there and kill the aunt and take Abby back to Five Nights at Freddy's. So essentially, they can turn her into one of the dolls. Mike realizes all this while he's talking with the police officer, and we find out that the police officer knew about all this, that they're all possessed children, or that these children are possessing these dolls, and that her dad was actually the person that kidnapped and killed all these kids, and was also the one that kidnapped Mike's brother back in the day. Ooh. So Mike goes back to Five Nights at Freddy's to save his sister, which he attacks all of the animatronics. Eventually, though, the bunny man shows up, the yellow bunny, who is the person that kidnapped Mike's brother, and takes his hood off or takes his helmet off. And it's the man that gave him the job at the beginning, played by, of course, the wonderful Matthew Lillard. Eventually, some fights break out. The police officer is stabbed by her own father. Abby decides, though, to let the other children know that he is the bad guy, that he's the man that killed them by drawing this picture. They decide to attack him, essentially killing him, quote unquote. There's probably a sequel coming. And they all leave happily ever after. Gosh, there we go.
Well, buddy, you came in at just under 3 minutes.
Yay!
So you are safe from Mr. Cupcake.
Yes. Well, tell him I said hi.
That was beautiful, first of all.
Thank you. No,
that
correct
was fantastic.
me, though.
That was great. I am going to correct you. Because
yes, please.
All of the Five Nights at Freddy's fans are screaming at you right now.
That's fair.
And let me tell you what they're screaming.
Why?
They're screaming, Andrew, the name of the place is not Five Nights at Freddy's. That's the name of the game and the movie.
You're right. That's true.
The name of the place
is
Freddy Fazbear's.
Yes, I'm sorry. Well, it's a lot of pressure doing the 3-minute recap, and I'm just going to say Five Nights at Freddy's. Yes, that's true. I apologize to all the fans out there. You are correct.
But thank you. Thank you for that recap. Now,
thanks.
What did you think of the movie Five Nights at Freddy's?
So I have one of the games, and I'd played it before, and it's horrifying because it's all jump scares, which freaked me out.
Which one?
2. Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And I tried playing it, and I never beat it because it's too much. My heart can't take it. I can't handle jump scares, and that's what the whole game is. But because of that, and I really enjoyed kind of learning about the lore. I've watched a lot of videos of other people playing it because I can handle that, and kind of watch the stories, and I've read a lot about it. So I was excited prior to this movie just because I'd kind of done research on the lore and everything about it. And I liked the idea of these animatronics coming to life. I liked the idea of being a security guard in a creepy place like that. So when I heard about this movie, I was really excited. That being said, watching the movie, I thought it was a blast, man. I thought it was a lot of fun. There's some holes and some things that we'll definitely talk about, or some things that I have some issues with, some quibbles. But overall, I thought this was a really fun October Halloween movie that I could just kind of sit, relax, and enjoy.
What about November?
You can watch this in November too.
Okay, good.
In fact, you could watch it in March.
Ooh,
this could be a March movie.
I will.
Please do.
Actually, I am looking forward to seeing it on something other than Peacock because, as usual with Hulu or Peacock or whatever, I do notice streaming artifacting in the movies. So I look forward to watching it on a medium that doesn't have that artifacting.
Fair.
So.
That's fair. What did you think, though, man? What were your thoughts?
Well, I went into this not knowing anything about the lore of the games.
Mm-hmm.
I had played a little bit of the first game, and honestly, it's not that the jump scares bother me. It wasn't my type of horror game.
Fair. Yeah.
To me, fair. And forgive me, everybody out there, all the fans of the game. To me, the game was stupid. It was just flipping back and forth from these cameras, and especially when I saw somebody online playing it on Twitch or something, and I saw that the way that they won the game was just flipping fast pace between all the cameras really quickly.
Oh,
I was like, that's terrible.
Yeah.
What's the point of this? And so I never got into the games, although I liked the concept because, and I'm sorry for this long preamble into what I thought of the movie.
Podcast, buddy.
Well, you know this, or I think you do. The listeners out there definitely probably don't know this, but my first job was at Chuck E. Cheese's.
That's right. Yeah, dude.
And do you remember what my job was?
Oh, man. You weren't in an outfit, were you?
My friend, I was Chuck E. Cheese.
Were you? Okay, I couldn't remember. I was like, you might have been. That's awesome, though.
It was pretty much the best job I ever had.
Really? That's amazing.
So I have a love and an affinity towards those old animatronic character pizza places, Showbiz,
Totally.
Chuck E. Cheese's. Because my very first job was as Chuck E. Cheese. I would walk around, I would play air hockey with kids, and I would even jump in the ball crawl sometimes as Chuck E. Cheese and get baby piss all over me. It was a great time. In fact, a quick story.
Yeah.
My very last day, I was in the Chuck E. Cheese costume, and I was walking back to the changing room for the last time. And I was about to move to Los Angeles, and this was my last day as Chuck E. Cheese. And I heard a voice behind me go, "Chucky?" And I turn around, and there's a little kid with the kid's mother, and the mother says, "Chucky, can you give so-and-so a hug, please, before you go?" And I went up to that kid and gave that kid a little Chuck E. Cheese hug, and I was freaking bawling inside that helmet, that Chuck E. Cheese mask. And then I went into the dressing room for the last time, and all these like metal things inside the costume clamped down on my ribs and killed me, and I'm now a ghost talking to you. I knew it.
That's really sweet, though. That's actually a sweet, minus the death part. That was actually it's a really sweet story.
No, I cried my eyes out that day. I loved working as Chuck E. Cheese. Plus, I got free mini pizzas every day. So, hey.
Dope.
But anyway, so I do have that affinity for those places, especially in a small town like Pensacola, Florida. The Chuck E. Cheese there was so much better than any of the Chuck E. Cheeses I ever stepped foot in Los Angeles. Sorry to say. So that's what I went into this movie with, and I also enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, okay, nice.
I had a good time. I thought it was a tiny bit long.
Yep, I have that note.
I felt its length a little bit, but I thought a lot of the movie was really well done. And we'll get into the particulars in a moment.
Yes.
But there you go. That's what I thought.
Yay! Look at that. Yay, we're on the same page for the most part, I think.
Yeah, probably. And we probably have the same quibbles. We'll see.
Yeah, that's fair.
Start us off. What were your quibbles?
Well, so I had that same note. I'll just say it right now since you just said it. It was a little long. I would say maybe 10 minutes too long. Maybe. At least that's how it felt. But yeah, I definitely had that note. That being said, okay, one quibble I have, and maybe I'm wrong and I missed something, so I'm going to ask you about it. I know that the animatronics liked Abby's drawings because she says something like that. They really like drawings. That being said, when she draws the picture at the end and puts it on the wall, did they communicate through drawings? Did we ever hear about that? I knew they liked the drawings, but did they communicate that way? Because she draws that he's the bad guy, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, that's the guy. That's our guy."
Literally right before that moment. Yes.
Did they? Okay.
Because they kept showing the drawing on the wall, and Mike made the connection. He looked at the drawings. He said, "It's the drawings." He's like, "Abby, can you draw and show them what really happened?"
Okay.
Yeah.
Then that's not a quibble. Because I just couldn't remember. I was like, that just all of a sudden happened? And she was like, "I'm just going to draw it, and that'll be our communication." No.
Honestly, though, that is one of my quibbles.
Okay.
Okay, so I really liked that scene. We're jumping to the end here.
Yeah.
I really liked the scene where she puts up the picture. All of a sudden, the animatronics focus on Afton. Or Springtrap, as he's called in the bunny costume. I really like that scene, but at the same time, I'm like, wait, so that's all it was? It was like pictures on a wall that were controlling these animatronics the whole time?
Yeah.
They make a comment at some point that, Afton is somehow controlling how they feel. I don't know how. And then you find out, it's these drawings on the wall. And I'm like, okay, that's a thing.
Which is kind of weird too, because these kids, like when Mike sees them in his dreams, they're old enough that they like, if someone I feel like communicated, "Hey, that guy killed you," and I say this to you, they'd be like, oh, we should get him because you just said it to us. Like, these are older kids that I feel like could understand that. So
yeah.
All right, we'll make it work.
One of my other quibbles, and I'm going to start this by asking you what you thought without any whatever.
Okay.
What did you think of Vanessa?
So I love, I'm going to say her name because she's been in a zillion things. Elizabeth Lail.
She's
I
been
really
in a
like
zillion?
her. Yeah, she's literally worked since the age of existence. She's been in lots of things. She's done some horror. She's done just lots of things, but I like her. She's
been in You, the Netflix show. She's been in,
yes.
She's been in You, Andrew.
Sorry. I was going to say, wait, when did this happen?
While you were sleeping.
Oh no.
Oh, look, and that's a Scooby reference. Matthew Lillard was Shaggy.
That's what's up.
6 degrees, baby. Of Freddy's.
6 degrees. If we can put Kevin Bacon in this movie somehow. Well, anyway.
Elizabeth Lail was also in Once Upon a Time. She played
Anna.
Princess Anna.
I watched that.
Look at us with our facts.
And she did the other one. She did a horror movie called Countdown, which is pretty fun.
Never heard of it.
It's a pretty fun movie. It's about an app. I recommend it though.
Was she in the award-winning horror movie Knife Point?
I don't think anyone was in that movie, man.
I know one person who was.
No, she was not.
You know who was in that movie? Star of the HBO series Big Love, Andrew Hilliard.
Oh man, at some point I had 0 lines on that show for anyone listening to this. You can see me just standing there. But at some point I will talk about how amazing Bill Paxton was on this podcast because he was the best.
Wait, he was on this podcast?
No, I want to talk at some point on this podcast. I'll talk about what a sweetheart he was. He was a good dude. Anyway,
this is us going off the rails, and
I
love it.
We're gone. Let's talk.
What movie are we talking about?
I don't know. Hunger Games.
Yeah, let's do it.
Boy, the people. I'll be happy if people are still listening at this.
I'm already crying because I'm thinking of Rue. Thank you. Thank you. Good job, dude. Good job.
Spoilers.
Josh Hutcherson was in The Hunger Games.
He was. Peter Malark. Wait. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah. So I thought, I'm going to jump back. What did I think of Vanessa? I thought
What did you think of Vanessa?
I thought she was kind of a weird character because she shows up and it knows about all this, which I get later, but I'm like, you could kind of tell him everything right now. Plus you're a police officer. Like you took a vow and all this to do the right thing. And so I thought she was weird, man. I thought she was a weird addition. And then he kind of likes her as well, sort of at one point. I'm like, she knew about your brother being kidnapped this whole time. Guy, I don't know. She was weird.
And it's weird because I liked her.
Right.
But she was weird.
Yeah.
Did you at any point think she was a figment of his imagination?
No, but that would have been, I like that. I actually like that a lot more.
Yeah, but she's not. So
she's not, but I do.
She's real. She is a cop who seems to be the least busy police person in the world.
Yeah, building forts and just hanging out, really.
Yeah, just hanging out, just dropping by Mike's house unannounced in the middle of the day.
Right. What the heck?
Oh man.
Yeah,
and
weird,
then
dude.
she was written very weird. And this movie, by the way, was written by the creator of the game, Scott Cawthon.
I didn't know that.
Who we'll talk about in a little bit.
Okay.
But Scott Cawthon wrote the screenplay. Obviously, he's not a screenplay writer, so he had help. He had help from the director, Tammi. He had help from Seth Cuddeback, Chris Lee Hill, and Tyler MacIntyre.
Okay.
And Tyler MacIntyre directed the movie Tragedy Girls, which came out recently and looks very interesting. I never saw it.
Right on. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So her character had some weird... Excuse me. Ziggy, what are you doing? Get off that.
Ziggy?
Stop that, Ziggy. For instance, she comes to Freddy Fazbear's the night that they're cleaning up after the vandals wreck the place. And Mike is sitting there with Abby in front of these animatronics, and he says, I think we should lay some ground rules down. Don't you, Vanessa? And Vanessa, like, completely just in a distracted way says, yeah, I think we need to build the fort really high.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But then maybe that would have been a good point to say, Abby, don't touch the electric guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the night ends with her basically telling Mike, if you bring Abby back here again, I will shoot you. And it's like, what? Where was this anger when you first walked in and saw Abby there?
Yeah, that's totally true. That's true. It's so weird. It's so weird. And I have to say, too, piggybacking off that, we'll go back to Vanessa. Abby got electrocuted. And they're like, we'll just go home after this. Not the doctor. She was electrocuted, but they're just like, she's all right. What? No.
She was fine, though.
She got electrocuted. You take someone to the hospital if they got electrocuted.
Have you ever stuck your finger in an outlet?
She passed out.
Have you ever? I'm asking you a question.
No.
Have you ever put a D-sized battery on your tongue?
Yeah, I have done that on your tongue, yes.
Did you go to the hospital?
I did not pass out.
It's the same thing. It's fine. She was fine.
Scotty, I worry about you. If you get hurt, please go see a doctor, Scotty.
It's fine. No. I only passed out for an hour. It's good. I woke up and Freddy Fazbear was above me. It's fine.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh,
I did like when she woke up and like Chica's in the background, like looking like the animatronics are worried for her.
Yes.
That it was just weird. Like I didn't think that was weird, actually. I was just like, because this is a fantastical movie. It's
that's
like,
yeah.
There's certain things that I'm willing to give it unrealism. I'm not going to be like, why didn't you take her to a doctor?
Right.
Sorry, that's my impression of you.
That was spot on. Why didn't you take her to a doctor? There we go.
If you bring her back here again, I'm going to shoot you.
Vanessa?
That's Vanessa.
Oh, yeah, I knew it.
So she was just a weird character, but at the same time, I did like her.
Mm-hmm.
But I did totally think that she was going to be a figment of his imagination just because of how weird she was.
Right.
Like, I thought she was a ghost.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would make a lot of sense.
I've got a question for you, pal.
Okay.
And it's another tiny quibble.
Okay.
How did that giant Freddy Fazbear animatronic get to Abby's house?
I have that same question. I have no idea. Yeah. No, I got nothing for you, buddy.
I mean, I thought maybe, and some people might say, oh, it wasn't really Freddy Fazbear. It was the ghost of the kid. But then Freddy gets into the cab.
Yeah.
And the cab driver sees this huge animatronic.
Exactly. He was there.
And then the cab driver's just like, people are weird.
Yeah.
Chuck E. Cheese gets in your cab.
Yeah.
And you're like, people sure are weird.
That's what I would say. Yeah, I have no idea how he got there. Hitchhiked? I don't know. It's weird, though. That's another thing. I guess we'll just deal with it. I don't know. I have one more quibble.
Yeah, please.
Which is, okay, so Mike, and maybe I'm being too whatever, but...
Pedantic. I'm going to say pedantic. Yeah. It's a good
shallow
word.
and pedantic. So Mike gets attacked, right? And he kind of gets knocked out, and Vanessa takes him to go help him. At that time, Abby's with the aunt at home. That's when Freddy, comes and takes her.
I think it happens after Freddy takes her, right? Because it cuts. Well, keep going.
So my thought is, like, he's been passed out. Vanessa bandages him up. He should think that Abby's at home, but when he's like, they're gonna go after Abby, he goes right to Freddy's instead of home where she should be. I was like, how did you know she was at Freddy's? I don't know.
I didn't even think about it, pal.
I know. Probably just me thinking too hard, but I was like, hey, you should have gone home first, you stinker.
I guess that made sense to me. I would have gone straight to Freddy Fazbear's as well. Or, as Andrew likes to call it, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Just in the intro, because I was nervous and scared.
I did like that the movie took place over 5 nights.
Me too.
At Freddy's.
I did love that. Yep.
I counted it the second time I watched it.
Well, I knew it because, every time I wake up, I'd be like, okay, night 1, night 2, night 3.
Let me just say, so when this movie came out,
Mhm.
there was a lot of interesting conversation on social media about the movie.
Okay.
A lot of people were complaining about it, and these were adult people. If you look at the ratings, critics, well, let me go back. If you look at the Peacock rating, and I think this is a Rotten Tomatoes thing.
Okay.
I think it says critics 30%.
Whoa.
But audiences 88%.
There you go. Yeah.
And it's like, what's wrong with critics these days that they can't review a movie for what it is?
Yeah.
Which is a gateway horror film for young people, mostly, who love this game.
Yeah, exactly. This is a perfect starting out point for a lot of, I hope, like, this is a really good opportunity for, like, a lot of kids if they do want to get into horror. This is a great one to start out with. It's great. It's nothing wildly over the top or too crazy where they're like, I can never watch a horror movie again. This is perfect for them to kind of dip their foot in that water.
Yeah. This is a cool story. This morning, right before we recorded, I went to my favorite Horror Vibes coffee in North Hollywood, and I met a lovely human named Phoenix, and they are huge fans of Five Nights at Freddy's. We actually talked about the movie, and they've been a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's since they were 9 years old, and they absolutely loved the movie.
Yes, that's awesome.
They even went to Universal Halloween Horror Nights and saw the actual animatronics that they had there, which I would have loved to have seen.
That's awesome.
Because probably by far my favorite part of this movie was how freaking awesome the animatronics looked.
That's my number one thing for this movie. And it was all practical. Like, obviously, except some of the movements from, like, the couple of them. But, like, I love that it was people in outfits. I turned to Cindy while watching this, and I was like, I'm so happy right now that this is all people. This is practical.
And it didn't look like people.
It
looked like animatronics.
Exactly. It was perfect. Like, I loved it. I was so happy about that.
Again, having worked at Chuck E. Cheese, it was perfect. The way they moved, the way they acted was it had me laughing the entire movie because it was so spot on to how those animatronics at Chuck E. Cheese worked.
Totally.
And Showbiz. I got to say Showbiz because I used to go to Showbiz before I ever went to a Chuck E. Cheese's.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. That's cool.
But yeah, I heard so many stories opening weekend of kids going to see this movie with their parents and just being so excited and walking out of the theater so overjoyed at what they had just seen. And it reminds me of, like, when I saw Lord of the Rings and these books that I had read multiple times, seeing these characters on screen, live action.
Yeah.
I was so happy that kids got to experience this with a game that they had loved for a long time. And meeting Phoenix today, Phoenix was kind of the embodiment of all of those fans of the video game that love this movie.
Nice.
So, Phoenix, thank you for the conversation today. If you're out there, it was really nice meeting you.
Shout out to Phoenix.
Yeah, shout out. But yeah, so that was an interesting thing. Another really interesting thing about this movie that I'm sure you heard is this movie obviously opened in theaters and premiered on Peacock on the same day.
Right. Correct.
The most amazing thing about that is that this movie still grossed more in its opening weekend in theaters than any other Blumhouse movie.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive.
People wanted to go to theaters and see this movie.
Awesome.
So that's fantastic.
That is awesome. That's surprising. Wow. Because they've made some fantastic movies too. Just prior to this. So that's really cool. I'm very happy about that.
Did I mention earlier that after I watched the movie, I kind of did a deep dive into the lore of the movie?
briefly, but we haven't talked about the lore or anything like that. So
Yeah, and I don't want to go too far into it, but
sure.
I know from reading the Wikipedia article on the games and reading the plot synopsis of each game.
Right.
Mike Schmidt is the security guard in the first game, which also, so there's a lot of things I loved about this movie.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about some of them. One thing I loved is Mike's first conversation with his recruiter.
Yeah.
Andrew, recruiter is what
Thank
it's
you. That's yeah. Thank you.
His first conversation with his recruiter, Steve Raglan.
Yeah.
I like how Steve or Matthew Lillard or William Afton is reading Mike's name on the sheet, and he goes, Mike, shh. And then he pauses, and I made a mental note of that when I saw the movie, and I thought at first that they were just, it was like, Mike, shh. Oh, there's a little nod to the video game. But no, it was because Steve Raglan is actually William Afton, and he recognized the name from the kid he kidnapped and killed.
Yep. I caught that too. Did you, I guess my question to you is, did you know that he was going to be the kind of final killer?
No. Did you?
I did. I didn't know right when we first met him because we hadn't gotten enough information yet. But once we kind of find out about his brother, I said, okay, this movie's going to go one of two ways. One, we're not going to find out who killed his brother, and it'll be left open-ended. And it could be a sequel, or we just don't know. Like, it might just be like that. Or two, we find out who it is. And if we find out who it is, there's literally one person it could be in this movie, and that's Matthew Lillard. So that was just kind of how I thought about it, was it can't really be anyone else. So it's got to be him if we find out who.
And here we come back to Scotty's, and I'm talking about myself in the third person, pal.
Thank you.
Scotty's blind spot to twists. For this movie, for whatever reason, I didn't even go into, the owner of this movie must still be alive, and he's one of the characters that we've met in this movie already. I didn't even think about it.
Nice. Good. I'm glad you didn't, though, because I feel like that's more fun when you see the outcome of it.
Now, when I did see the outcome, I wasn't like,
right. What?
I was just more like, oh, okay, of course.
Yeah. You were like, zoinks.
I did not, because I've never seen that movie. Well, maybe I have. I don't know. Maybe I have.
We'll talk.
Freddie Prinze Jr., ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
He played Ken. Or
It's
what is that his name?
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Wait, Fred.
Yeah, Fred.
Thank you. Fred.
Shaggy, Velma, Daphne, Scoob.
Velma.
Mm.
Did you say Velma?
Velma,
Can
yeah.
you say it again?
Velma.
It's kind of the same reaction I get when I hear your voice, pal.
Stop it.
Hear your name. I just messed up that joke. Never mind. Joke ended.
Keep that in this.
I love the Balloon Boy toy.
Yeah.
Again, a reference I did not understand when I first watched the movie. I thought, oh, it's just a cheap jump scare. Stupid. But then second time I watched this movie, I realized how hilarious Balloon Boy is.
Yeah.
And how much it is a stupid, blatant jump scare.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It was a nice shout out. It was fun.
Okay. This whole podcast is going to be me revealing how dumb I am, because the first time I watched the movie, I thought it was like just different Balloon Boy toys that were scattered around the restaurant and stuff.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't until the second time I watched it, I was like, oh, it's the same toy.
Right.
And it's moving around, and it got into the cab at the end. Oh, yeah. I'm smart.
Hey, you look good. All right.
Thanks, pal.
Yeah.
Also, I guess even the opening of the movie, which I thought I liked the opening, but at the same time, when I saw the whole movie, I said to myself, that opening was just a little bit of fan service, because they knew that they were going to take their time getting to the restaurant. They're going to introduce Mike and Abby first for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
So here you go. Here's a little bit of Five Nights at Freddy's for you. Just to appease you.
Yeah. But But it was fun, and I liked it. I mean, I'll always like that 8-bit kind of style anyway, which is super cool.
Oh, you're talking about the opening credits?
Yeah. Oh wait, what were you?
No,
what
I'm
did
talking
you
about
say?
the security guard at the beginning, the intro to the movie.
Oh, I thought you meant like the credits. I was like, yeah, it's totally like a shout out for fans because that's you can play those mini games in them as well. That kind of look
rewind,
like that,
rewind your brain for a second.
Yep, going back.
And
Yeah,
think
I forgot
about what I just said again. and, and now think about that security guard at the beginning of the movie.
There we go. Got
there
it.
you go. Are you with me?
I'm with you. Hi. What are we doing today?
We're talking about Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Zoinks.
Anyway. But yeah, the intro with the security guard. Another thing I found out later that the story behind the first game, Five Nights at Freddy's, is that the animatronics kill you by stuffing you into a extra animatronic body.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what that's a reference to, right? Them putting the security guard in the chair and the spinning.
Mm-hmm. That's what I got from it. Yeah. Is that, totally a shout out to that.
Okay, cool. Good story.
Yes. I'm just going to answer yes and no for the rest of the podcast.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Afton?
No.
Okay, buddy.
All right.
What was I going to say next? Jeez. Oh, I had something on my head. In my brain.
That's the one.
What was I going to talk about?
Was it things you liked?
I don't know, man. We've gone so far off the rails at times that this is the first time that we've gone off the rails and I actually lost my train of thought. So I'm just going to say that I really liked seeing Mary Stuart Masterson as Aunt Jane.
Yeah. Yes.
Even though Aunt Jane was a horrible, evil character.
Yes, dude.
But I am a big fan of the old John Hughes movies from the 80s.
Oh, yeah, dude.
One of my favorites was Some Kind of Wonderful.
Oh, right on. Yeah, dude.
And Mary Stuart Masterson was one of the stars of that. And she's been in many other things, but that movie especially, I just absolutely love her in.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw her in this movie, I just got so excited.
That's awesome. I love that.
So Mary, if you're out there listening, Mary Stuart Masterson, I love you.
Wow. And that's big praise right there, Mary. So just be grateful. All right.
I would have given you the ring, Mary Stuart Masterson. And fans of Some Kind of Wonderful will understand that reference. There you go.
I love you, buddy.
Oh man, what did you think of the music?
It was fun. I love the music.
What is up with this podcast?
I don't know. It was fun. No, I loved. Yeah, it had kind of that funky feel to it that the games do, or the game soundtrack does, and yeah, I think it was. I loved it. I thought it was fun.
Do you know who did it?
Nope.
The Newton Brothers. There you go.
Thank you.
The Newton Brothers usually work with Mike Flanagan.
Oh, interesting.
So the house, The Haunting of Hill House, The Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, Dr. Sleep. The Newton Brothers have done all of those.
That's kind of cool. That's pretty dope. I like that.
Yeah. So I liked it. I thought, honestly, I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I'll be honest.
Honestly, be honest.
I thought I liked the score. I thought this was maybe one of their weaker scores when it comes to, because Midnight Mass is such a great score.
Yeah, dude.
And so are both The Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor.
Nice.
And the Dr. Sleep score. They're all fantastic. I like the main Five Nights at Freddy's theme that they wrote for this.
Right.
But the rest of the movie was kind of just background music.
That's fair. That's fair. I totally get that.
I did like that at the beginning of the credits, they started with the Five Nights at Freddy's song.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that one, but it's close.
Something like that. I don't know.
The way this podcast is going, it's good enough.
Yeah, why not?
Now, here's something that's interesting to me, and I'm going to get a little bit slightly serious.
Uh-oh. Okay.
When this movie came out, there was all this talk about the merits of the movie itself. I did not even know until I started reading up on him that Scott Cawthon is kind of a controversial person himself.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I don't know anything about him, so.
He was very Christian,
Okay.
but kind of right-wing Christian.
Oh, okay.
And did some games, some Christian video games that were unsuccessful before he came up with Five Nights at Freddy's.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then while he was putting out Five Nights at Freddy's and probably making tons of money off of it.
Right.
There was one point where it was revealed that he had made many donations to Donald Trump, Kevin McCarthy, many conservative prominent people. You know, usually when stuff like that happens, you hear a lot about it on social media when a movie comes out, but there wasn't a whisper. I didn't see a single post about Scott Cawthon and his political ties.
Weird. I wonder why. That's trippy.
Yeah, it is trippy. I don't know. It's weird. I do know that he has stayed out of the spotlight. He's actually the reason that this movie took so long to get made.
Really? Why?
Yeah. Well, just because of how much control he wanted over it. I know at the beginning, let me see, what year was it? 2015, Warner Brothers started development on a movie version of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Jeez. 2015?
Yeah, and after failing to get it launched, Blumhouse, I think, got the rights in 2017 and started developing themselves with Chris Columbus.
Really? Wow.
Planned to direct this movie.
Wow.
And I can't remember if it was disagreements between Scott Cawthon and Chris Columbus, but Tammi eventually became the director. But yeah, Scott Cawthon was involved heavily from day one. And that was one of the, I guess, mandatory, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Like requirements?
Yeah, it was one of the requirements that he had final say on everything, basically.
Wow.
Like who starred in the movie, who directed the movie, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
Evidently, at one point when Chris Columbus was directing it, there was a whole screenplay written for the movie, and Cawthon eventually scrapped it. He decided that this is not good, and this is not what I want this movie to be, and he scrapped it and started from scratch.
Whoa.
So yeah, this movie has taken a while to come out.
I guess, dude. Jeez.
I'm glad it finally did, but yeah, it's very interesting to me that I didn't hear anything about Scott Cawthon's conservative backgrounds. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about, and I'll ask you the question first. What did you think about the PG-13 rating of this movie?
I'm fine with it. Like I said, I think if you had made it R and more gruesome, a lot of those like kids that did play this, or younger folk, I guess, that played this may not have been able to see it, or might not have had. It might have been harder for them to get to see it. So I mean, I was fine with it, and I liked how it worked. Like I said, I mean, it's a really great kind of gateway into horror for a younger audience, which is fantastic. So I'm fine with it being PG-13. Could there have been more like gore and gruesomeness and stuff? Of course, absolutely. But I'm not losing sleep over it, Yeah,
one movie I thought about was Megan.
Oh, yeah.
And we discussed that on the podcast. You can go back and listen to that episode if you want. The difference between Megan and this movie is, if you remember when we talked about Megan, I had not seen the R-rated version yet.
Right.
And I said that it felt like Megan had been an R-rated movie that was cut down and edited to become a PG-13 movie.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
And sure enough, they were able to make an R-rated or unrated version with more blood because they cut back the stuff that they cut out. Five Nights at Freddy's did not feel like that to me.
I agree. Yep.
Five Nights felt like this is the movie that we intended to make.
Yep.
It was never intended to be a gory slasher R-rated movie. And so it didn't bother me at all.
Nice. Good. Yeah. Yep, me either. I'm right there with you. It made sense. Like just watching it made sense, knowing kind of the history of it as well. It just that's what it should be.
When I hear about certain horror movies getting a PG-13 rating, sometimes I do kind of get nervous.
Right.
Because obviously I want my R-rated horror movies. I want my blood and gore and heavy themes and whatnot. And so I get a little nervous when I hear that something I'm looking forward to has been rated PG-13.
Right.
But I'm always willing to give it a chance. And I think that's the whole thing. Does it look like it was made to be PG-13, or does it look like it was made to be rated R, and then maybe the studios put their hand in and said, hey, we can get more audiences if you cut some of this out?
Right. Yeah.
Like Megan.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So I guess bottom line is I like the PG-13 Friday night, Five Nights at Freddy's. I guess the bottom line is I like the Five Nights at Freddy's PG. I guess I like this movie.
This is going really well today, man. It's going well.
What else did you like about the movie, buddy? Come on, give me your notes.
Let me look. I feel like we talked a lot about kind of everything.
What'd you think of Abby?
I liked Abby. She played the part well. I want to make sure I give her credit. Piper Rubio.
Yeah.
Because she's kind of, she doesn't have a lot of social cues. It sounds like kind of in the movie, like she sticks primarily to her drawing. She doesn't want to talk to people. And I thought she played that part kind of well of, I don't want to say outcast. That's not the right word, but someone that just doesn't want to be around people, someone that just wants to kind of be in their own world. And I could see that with how she played that character. So I was impressed by her. I liked her.
I thought it was interesting. I don't know if they meant it to be a mystery at the beginning of the movie, but I did like the idea. Did you think that Josh Hutcherson or Mike Schmidt was her father?
I did.
At the beginning?
Yep, I did. Yep.
I wonder if you were supposed to think that.
I'm wondering too, because even I remember, like, I didn't watch the trailer, but I think I just maybe saw pictures or something, and even beforehand, just thinking, oh yeah, he's a dad. That's his daughter. Yeah. So right, yeah, and again at the beginning, I was like, okay, yeah, he's a dad.
But then it turns out to be his younger sister.
Right.
And I actually liked that because I did think that they had a weird relationship as father and daughter.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. That's fair.
And when it was revealed that she's actually his sister, I thought, oh, this makes much more sense.
Yes.
The way they interact with each other.
I completely agree with that. Yeah. Just, yep. Because they anytime he had to do something, it was like this weird bickering that didn't make sense. But as a sibling, it's like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. So I totally agree with you.
I like the way Josh Hutcherson, by the way, was fantastic in this movie.
He was great in this.
And I liked the way he played Mike as somebody who cares a lot about Abby, but also has his own demons going on.
For sure.
I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah.
However, it brings up another quibble I have.
Please.
And it's a continuation of the whole, you bring her back here and I will shoot you.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, after that night, Mike just jumps straight to calling Aunt Jane, evil Aunt Jane.
Right.
And I was like, that was a really quick jump Mike made there.
That's totally fair.
And I guess with everything going on with Mike's guilt over his brother, it could be explained that Abby getting electrocuted. I mean, we didn't really see it, but maybe almost dying.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Mike felt guilt over that, and I can't take care of her. I also felt that I think as much as I thought the movie was a little long, that was one part of the movie I thought needed a little more explanation.
That's fair.
Because I felt like Mike was saying that I just need Aunt Jane to babysit you.
Right.
While Aunt Jane came over, Aunt Jane came over and had something completely different in mind.
Right. Well, and he even says to Abby, like, this isn't what you think. Like, this is not what you think. Because even she's like, I'm not going to go with her. I'm not going to be with her. It's like, that's not what this is about. And she runs off. And so I think, I mean, he doesn't have we never really know where his parents are, if they died, I'm assuming then, since he's taking care of her. That's never explained. But I mean, it sounds like he's the only babysitter that he like even knew of died. He doesn't know that yet, but just disappeared.
Yeah.
So maybe this is like literally a last resort. This is my one job I have. I have literally no one I know except the aunt who I don't like. This is it. I have no one else and I need this job. So I don't know. I was fine with it because I just was like,
see, everything you just said, I would have liked to have had just that little bit of dialogue in the movie.
That's fair.
Like, yeah. Abby, this is not what it looks like. She's just here to watch you so I don't lose this job.
Right. There you go. Just like that.
There it is.
Oh, man.
So I don't know. That was one quibble I had. It just felt like a very quick jump to the extreme. Like, hey, let's call evil Aunt Jane.
Right.
Who wants to steal you and keep you forever.
Yeah.
And who you actually absolutely hate. You know.
Yeah, she does.
What did you think of the look of the movie? The cinematography. Cinematographer was Lyn Moncrief, who also shot Vengeance and The Passenger, which is a recent movie that came out. But yeah, what did you think?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Did you think it was dark at all? Like a little bit dim?
I did, but I thought that was the point. I mean, especially when we see it at Freddy's. I mean, I think it's got to be kind of that darkness in there. Even when the lights are on, even when it's bright and everything, it still has kind of that dimness to it. And I thought that was kind of almost a way of saying, like, there's a shadow here. There's something here. It's dark. It's not as happy as you think. So I liked that. I liked it.
I thought it was interesting. I did see a couple comments online about that the movie was too dark.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I thought it was too dark. I did notice that the highlights in the movie were darker than other movies.
Okay.
But I will say, when Mike got to Freddy Fazbear's and he turned on the lights, every shot of the outside of that place, of the outside of the restaurant with all the lights on, I thought were absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I agree.
And also, and I hope Lyn Moncrief is listening to this, because there was one shot that really struck me every single time, and it was in the movie multiple times. It's when Mike is dreaming and the soda is spilled on the edge of the picnic table, and it cascades over the edge of the picnic table, but then it fizzes on the side of it. It bubbles up and fizzes. And I thought that was such a beautiful, just a single beautiful shot.
Nice. That's awesome. I remember that happening, but I don't know if it struck me as much as you. So now I want to rewatch that part.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. Also, did you notice during the dreams when Mike was looking at the 5 kids standing there, did you notice that a couple times their faces would go blank?
No, I don't think I caught that.
Oh man, go back and watch. It's really cool. It's a cool effect. Like their faces just like they get blurred out.
Really?
Yeah, go back and watch.
I did not catch that. Yeah, I will. That's trippy. That's cool.
And you don't have to go far into the movie. Go to Mike's first dream. I think when he's at Freddy Fazbear's and he sees the kids for the first time and they're all standing there. And I actually had to rewind it because I was watching and I said, did that kid's face just blur out? That's weird, but very creepy and very cool.
Cool. I love that. Yeah, I'll rewatch that part because I'm curious. That's cool though.
So let's jump to, I guess, the climax of the movie.
Yeah, let's do it.
I loved the first entrance of Springtrap.
Yes, me too. That was awesome.
Oh man,
it was perfect. Like him and his stance as well. It was everything. I was like, yes, here is what I'm here for. Like, this is it.
That is exactly what I was thinking. Like the way that Springtrap is bent over, and looking at Mike with his head cocked.
Yep.
It was interesting because it gave it this like human kind of animation, but also looked animatronic, but a little more human than the other characters. And then obviously you realize why when Springtrap takes off his head and it's William Afton.
Yep. So I always love in like in horror or any movie where kind of the quote unquote antagonists turn on the creator, turn on the real villain of the movie. Like I've always liked that, because then I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm sure there's some thing that happened in my past, who knows, but it's like your enemy or this bad guy is now your protector, and the people you were scared of are now there to save you. So I loved that moment, even though the drawing thing we already talked about, but I loved that they all turned on him and were fighting him and they could escape. Like I love those moments in movies where, like I said, the antagonists go after the real antagonist, and you feel like, yes, finally they get it. They're after the right guy now. I just love that. So I loved that moment where they all just kind of look at him. I was like, yes, finally. I thought it was fun.
And I liked the way the spring lock stuff inside the costume was what kind of ended him.
Right. Yeah.
Not dead though. He's not really dead.
No, not yet, because we see that little ghost say hi to him or wave to him.
Yeah, I did. Okay, so a couple things I didn't like about that scene though. Or that sequence. I didn't like that Vanessa took Mike all the way to this police station or wherever he was.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? It looked like he was still in the back of Freddy Fazbear's.
I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, they must be in some room there. It's not.
Yeah. Why take him so far away? Just have him in the back of, I don't know. It was just really, it felt rushed.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Yep.
And then, of course, it's not something I didn't like. It was just like, as soon as Vanessa said, I can't go back there, I would be no use to you. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, so she's going to show up at just the right moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, of course.
But let me tell you, for kids who are seeing this as maybe one of their very first horror movies,
mm-hmm.
especially watching this movie the second time,
mm-hmm.
I got so excited for them, especially the sequence where Foxy is stalking Abby.
Yeah. Yep.
It really, I don't know about you, but it gave me visions of the raptor scene in Jurassic Park.
Totally, dude. Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I really liked that section of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what movie. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, honestly, anytime I saw the quote unquote animatronics, I did feel like a sense of joy. Like I was just like, oh, this is so perfect. Like I was so happy. So I'm with you. I think kids will really enjoy that.
Were you familiar with all of them? Were you familiar with Mr. Cupcake?
Yes, not from playing the game, but more from reading the lore and seeing all the images and things like that.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah. So yeah, I was familiar. I was familiar with all of them,
even Balloon Boy,
except Balloon Boy. Balloon Boy, I had to look up because I was like, "There's something about this," because they keep doing the jump scare and stuff. Yeah. There's something about him, obviously, that I'm not getting, and so yeah, I had to look him up.
And I guess the first time I looked up Balloon Boy,
mm-hmm.
all I saw was from the movies wiki page. So
interesting.
It made it seem like, because it said first appearance, Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is a character they made just for the movie. But then I was able to look further and I saw, oh, no, he was actually in the games.
Yeah.
I think he was in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, maybe.
I think 2 or 3. Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, definitely not the first one. Definitely not the first one.
Now, jumping to the end of the credits. Did you watch the entire credits?
Like, was there the scene at the end with the...
No, that was before the end. That was before the credits started.
What happened at the end? Remind me, because I know I listened to the song because I knew the song.
Right, but did you watch all the way to the very end of the credits? There was no extra scene, but there was a little Easter egg.
Oh, I don't think I did. What was it?
So at the very end of the credits, as the music is playing,
mm-hmm.
a song that Five Nights at Freddy's fans would recognize plays briefly. It's called My Grandfather's Clock, or My Grandfather Clock. And then there's like kind of a speak and spell type voice that starts saying letters. And if you listen to the letters, they spell out, come find me. And I did not know what that meant, so I had to look it up. But
mm-hmm.
fans of the games would have freaked out, probably, because that would signify that a character from Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the puppet, will be part of the second movie. And My Grandfather Clock is, I guess, the song that you play in the second game to keep the puppet at bay.
Cool. That's awesome.
But evidently that's the puppet saying, "Come find me."
That's awesome. Well, and I mean, honestly, the fact that this movie has done so well and made the amount that it has
means there's never going to be a sequel.
Never. No. People hate when like movies make money. They're like, I don't want to make a sequel. It's doing so well.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2, The Lost World.
That's awesome.
And the other thing we haven't talked about is the whole story. I do love that behind this PG-13 movie, there is this actually gruesome story.
Yeah.
And very, very dark about these kids that were killed at Freddy Fazbear's and hidden inside the animatronics. And that's why their spirits haunt and possess the animatronics, because their bodies were literally hidden inside the animatronics. And of course, then I start to think, wouldn't people notice the smell? Did the restaurant close down that quickly?
Yeah.
But maybe not.
I will say I'm going to piggyback off that with one little quibble, because at one point Vanessa is saying like, he hid the bodies in the one place no one would ever look, and it was obviously and I was like, I think if kids were taken from there, people knew that these kids were taken from Freddy's or something happened. Like, I think the police would look kind of everywhere, including maybe even opening that. They may have found a weapon inside. They may have found something. So for me, I was like, I think they probably would have looked, but I'm going to let this one go. That was when I was like, man, just let it go.
I don't think they would.
Really?
I'm gonna debate you on this.
Okay.
I don't think as these robots, they're robots with a lot of mechanical insides.
Right.
And I think that the police would automatically assume that there's no room for a child's body inside all these robotic parts of this animatronic.
But we don't know. So, what I'm saying though is, maybe they wouldn't have looked initially for a body, but maybe a weapon. Oh, maybe a kid was killed. What if they threw the weapon in here to hide it? I don't know, man. I think they would have.
After the disgustingness of looking through the ball crawl. Yeah, no. I disagree with you, pal. I don't think they would have looked there.
I
think it's a great hiding place. If I was a serial killer, I would hide kids in animatronic characters.
It's a pretty good place, but yeah. All right, that's you think that, I will think my thing, and we'll just move on from that, buddy. This one I'm not backing down from, though.
I love that the end of the Foxy sequence was that she hid in the balls.
I did too. I thought that was
awesome.
Yep. That whole look at us.
Look at us. Buy me a Coke.
Yeah, that whole scene was so much fun. And I did like, there was a nice little shout out to it, because Foxy in the games, at least from kind of what I read and have seen, is, really fast and kind of zooms at the camera. And so there's that shot where Foxy zooms at Mike to knock him out. And I was like, that's a fun little.
Well, Foxy also zoomed at one of the vandals.
Right. So it's just a fun, I was like, that's fun. It's a nice little shout out to the game.
I didn't know that. See, I didn't know that about the game. So
yeah. So I like that.
Now I like it. I kind of usually hate that kind of stuff, but
right. But it's a nice little Easter egg.
But it also didn't feel like the sped up camera type stuff that I don't like. Agreed. So I was okay with it in this movie more than most movies, but that's a nice little shout out. I'm glad they did it.
Yeah, me too.
Just a few other things that I kind of actually liked about the movie. Going back to the opening credits, and now I'll talk about them.
Yeah.
I did like how that digital 8-bit or 16-bit or whatever, I liked how it kind of gave you the origin story. Like, it showed the yellow rabbit taking these kids away.
Yep. I loved it.
I liked that a lot. I, of course, liked that once you realize that the 5 kids in Mike's dream are the ghosts of the 5 kids that disappeared. I like how they all have a little something that signifies which character they're possessing.
Yep.
Especially even the little redheaded kid who's Mr. Cupcake.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Did you just cheer at redheads?
No. I thought
Because
you were
you're a
going to say the
redhead?
redhead with the hook. That was Foxy, and I was like, yeah, Foxy's
Oh.
hook.
I thought you were like, yeah, go redheads.
Yeah. Hey.
Obviously, I guess it's from the game as well. Maybe you can tell me, but Foxy's little bum ba dum dum dum.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'm sure it is. I'm sure
It's got to
from
be in the game.
Yeah.
So all the game fans out there can yell at me, but
They can yell at both of us.
I love that.
Yeah.
And of course, there was a part near the end sequence where after Mike kind of quote unquote saves Abby,
Right.
he like takes her into the back room and he stops to have a speech. Like,
yes.
like they're running from animatronics and he stops to say, I promise I'm going to be better. And I'm like, what are you doing? Just go.
Yeah. Yep.
But I love that Abby's like, that's great, Mike, but we should probably get going.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
I did like that. Okay, so I'm ready for 3 questions. Are you?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
Okay, buddy. Question number 1. What did you think was the best kill or death in Five Nights at Freddy's?
I kind of feel like we really only see one, kind of, and I think it's Max gets bit in half, and it's sort of through shadow. Well, kind of. And I mean, that's a pretty solid kill. To have an animatronic bite someone in half, that wins for me.
Yeah, kind of no question. That was, as adult fans of horror, that's definitely going to be the best kill for me.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing about the kills in this movie, first of all, we're not totally sure if Aunt Jane is dead.
That's true.
They didn't even mention her at the end of the movie.
That's true. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, and poor Aunt Jane, but
yeah, right.
it's just Freddy kind of, or the kid is like Aunt Jane, always falling asleep or whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's interesting. But if that's the case, then the Vandals are the final kills we actually see in the movie.
That's true. Yeah, because after
nobody else dies. Yeah.
It's cut, but he's still alive.
Yeah, presumably.
Right.
And that brings us to question number 2, my friend. Do you think Five Nights at Freddy's is a scary movie?
I don't. I think it's more, I don't know. It's not, to me, it's not scary. I could see though, I mean, like I said, if this is kind of a good gateway movie for kids, some of them, I could see them getting a little freaked out, of course. There's definitely some creepy moments. But for me, no, I didn't think it was scary. What about you?
Yeah, not scary at all.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to hear that young people who are fans of the games thought that this movie was scary.
Mm-hmm.
Were you jump scared by Balloon Boy at least?
I actually wasn't.
Oh,
surprisingly, which usually I usually jump at everything, but yeah, anytime Balloon Boy was on, I did not jump.
We've already answered this, but my friend, question number 3, did you have fun with horror?
Yes! Exclamation point. I did have fun with horror.
That's funny because when I do voice to text,
yeah,
I'm one of the few people that I know that actually says the punctuation, because you have to if you want to put punctuation in your text.
Yep.
So if I said, "Hey Andrew, how was your day?" ? So that's funny that you said that.
Cindy does that as well. Whenever she does it, she's like, she'll do the punctuation. So
I love
that.
Hey, here's to punctuation in your texts and social media posts, people.
We're sponsored by Punctuations today. So,
and yes, I also have fun with horror, by the way.
Yeah, good. Yes, thank you.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
You knew about this.
Guess you figured it out.
Ghost children possessing giant robots? Thanks for the heads up.
Guys, we need help.
That was a lot of fun, man. I love talking with you about movies. But I wonder if I'm going to love what movie you pick next. I won't know until you say.
Well, it's funny you say that because I'm not sure you're going to have fun with this one.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
But our next movie is one of the most talked about horror movies at the moment, or has been for the past month. And that movie is a film called When Evil Lurks.
I don't know this one, dude.
1 second. I want you to look at a picture.
Oh.
Do you recognize that movie poster?
I have seen that poster. Yes.
Okay.
I have. Yeah.
So it's a very talked about movie.
Oh, gosh.
It's a very dark movie and a pretty intense one from what I hear. So.
Oh, gosh. Oh, boy. Is this going to be another Speak No Evil, if you will?
Maybe.
Oh, no.
I don't think it's that bad, though.
Okay.
I don't think it's that rough, but there are definitely scenes in the movie that are trigger warnings, maybe. So,
oh, geez. Okay, When Evil Lurks. Oh, man. All right.
At the moment, at the time of this recording, When Evil Lurks is available to watch on Shudder.
Nice.
And I guess AMC Plus, according to justwatch.com.
Okay.
So there you go.
Oh,
When Evil Lurks, my friend.
I know. I'm excited though, because the only thing I've seen is that poster, and I think it was because I was on Shudder and I saw it, and it's like one of the new releases or top releases or what, I don't know what it says, something like that. I was like, interesting, but I don't know anything, and I'm glad. I'm not going to look anything up. I want to go into this one not knowing anything.
And the poster is damn haunting.
Yeah.
It's just a red poster with a silhouette of a woman holding an axe, but the axe is facing her head.
Yeah.
So,
oh gosh.
Good luck with this one, everybody out there.
Oh boy. I'm excited. I'm excited though, because I'm excited. I'm always excited, whatever we pick, but I'm very curious.
Yeah, we'll see how it holds up against other extreme horror films, maybe, I guess. I don't know if this would even be considered extreme. I think it's just a rough one, an intense one, like I said before.
Yeah. Oh boy.
When Evil Lurks, my friend.
Well, cool. I'm excited as always. I was definitely not expecting that movie. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was not that. So I'm happy.
Well, I did tell you I had a hard time picking our next movie. So
you did, yes.
But I think I want to talk to you about this one. And also, as I said, it's one of the most talked about movies right now. So I think a lot of people will be interested to hear what others think.
For sure.
Not necessarily us, but other people.
But probably us, though.
Probably us. And that brings me to...
Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, a magical place for kids and grown-ups alike, where fantasy and fun come to life. If you're watching this video, it means you've been selected as Freddy's newest security guard. Congratulations! We're going to have so much fun together.